Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, still happy to be here?
I am.
Good. Just for the purpose, real quick, of the Appropriations Committee, as we are colleagues on the commission, and you were a testifier before you were blessed to be our Secretary of Education. We've heard from school district superintendents, school board members, school business managers, the PA Department of Education of both administrations, research and academic professors, city officials, national experts and officials from other states, teachers, intermediate units, career and technical schools, charter and cyber schools, the librarians, and the statewide advocacy organizations. And make no doubt about it that the idea of this commission that we have all agreed in a very bipartisan way is about student weight. And there will be not a formula that operates by zip code or by district. So I thank you for your work on that. I just have a couple of questions. With this proposal that we're seeing versus the where we're hopefully going to end up getting with a formula. You know, this is a robust proposal. In fact, people down our way are saying that it makes Governor Rendell look like he's a member of the Tea Party. We hear about quality education. We hear about accountability. One question that a lot of our members have had, and Chairman Saylor hinted on it too, with all this revenue that we're trying to infuse under this plan in the districts, what restrictions do we have, are there on local districts? So we infuse all this cash into these districts. What limits them from continuing to raise taxes? Because we use, as you know, Mr. Secretary, they basically took all the revenue generators out of Senate Bill 76, House Bill 76, and put them in here. But with 76 came restrictions and came ultimately elimination. What do we have?
So I can speak specifically to some that impact school districts directly, and without getting into the greater detail of the formula. But I can share with you, one, the Act 1 index continues to be supported through the recommended updating of school code. Secondly, there's a proposal that explains in order to tax, even at the Act 1 index, you have to have less than 4% in your unrestricted fund balance. So part of what we've been trying to do through this budget is first, of course, putting accountability measures to ensure that the funding is going directly to schools, and second, ensure that school districts aren't taxing and just moving more and more money into unrestricted fund balances. So we're trying to be mindful, of the needs of the taxpayer, while at the same time supporting to ensure that funding is going right to the classroom.
And we know, respectfully, Act 1 has not been successful for the taxpayers, but has been successful for the districts. There's been very few districts that have been held to that, and that's certainly, you're very early in your tenure. I'm not saying that's you, but Secretary certainly in the past. If we for some reason can't get a formula that gets 102 and 50 and a governor's signature on it, does this proposal change? Will the governor change it in terms of how he's getting to the numbers? Because you must admit, he used old data, and we knew he was going to do that. He wanted to start from a base. But are we going to change that in any way? Will we take at least recommendations from the commission that may not have been voted on, or are we just going to stick with this? Because right now, what I think we're doing is we're essentially throwing money at zip codes as opposed to students.
So that's not a question that I specifically asked, but we've spoken about the budget and as a whole, and of course, as the governor shared, and as we've spoken about, it's a comprehensive budget that kind of is dependent on each other in terms of the investment versus the revenue. So this is the first we've ever really had a conversation in relation to. So what happens if it's not? If a school funding formula doesn't come to fruition? And I think part of what I feel, there's such great movement on the commission now. I think it's probably one of the times where I've seen a bipartisan support around something needing to be done, and at the same time, there's a lot of consensus in terms of the conversation. So of course, that means I'm hoping that we can deliver, and I'm sure you are, because you've put a lot of work. The commission's put a lot of work into this, and I will do whatever I have to do to support the work of the commission, to ensure that school districts are funded equitably. But we've not had that conversation, though.
Just to wrap up, the one concern, just as we move forward with or without a formula, Speaker Turzai made a presentation the other day I heard, and I was floored. Between it's all the same taxpayers. It's either they funnel it through us or they funnel it through their school board. But a totality of about $27 billion in public education tax dollars going into our system now. What our folks are looking for is that level of accountability. And since we're not school boards, we can't control the contracts. We can't control the local issues that school boards are supposed to control. And just to ask you, and as we move forward, if there has to be some other build, that there are restrictions stronger, more robust than Act 1 put in place. But thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, thank you.